Hi, my name is MaryGrace, and today I will be showing you a simple DIY watercolor Valentine's Day card. Let's get started. I've started by lightly penciling in my designs. We have a cloud heart design over here, your classic Victorian lace heart Valentine's here, and this one will be a floral design card that we're going to start with. First, what you're going to want to do is first pencil out the words, and then you can ink them in or paint them in with watercolor. So I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to be using some kind of very Christmassy red, I would call it. I think this is Kankadium. And this part will usually go very slow, so I think we're just going to skip over to when it's done. Okay, I have finished the lettering in a beautiful Christmas red, and I'm going to show you, we're going to add some flowers to it. It's going to be a really simple round flower, 5 flowers. Super easy, super simple like that. It's going to look like that. We're going to use that to fill in with that same red as our lettering. And a very light pink, the same color like what you use if you mix pink with white. And you should get, those will be our flowers. And then we're going to have leaf garlands that we're going to use a kind of light purplish color. We're gonna keep that pink and red theme throughout the whole thing to make it very Valentine's Day. You're gonna start with the vine and then add some leaves going out like so. And then also what we're gonna add to this are just some stray leaves that will be in a darker color. And some just little dot accents by a bright pink color. So then first we're going to start with our garland. We're going to be doing the vines first. Start adding vines and leaves wherever like they kind of go naturally all the way around the oval. If you can vary it a bit, but be careful not to run into your lettering. Just try to avoid that, getting just a really soft, nice shape. And then you're gonna go all the way around. So I finished the vines all around, and now I'm gonna start adding in the flowers wherever it fits right between the vines. If you feel you have room, add 1 or 2. We're gonna come back and have another color, but first we're going to add all the red flowers first. The other color is going to get pink. Now remember, we're trying to make this garland, but we don't want it, we're not drawing it in a harsh oval, but we're trying to create that with all our little vines and flowers and later leaves. So just trying to connect that empty space, add some more leaves, just some little outliers, and remember the details is really what's going to make it beautiful and very whimsical like. So you just add them like kind of out there. Remember, if you can kind of keep the same pattern going around, that's good. It'll make it look nice and symmetrical. So we're going to go in with some gold water paint and some white acrylic paint to really bring this design to the next level. Okay, so we're gonna add some water to our gold paint. I wanna make sure it's really strong. Okay, we're gonna put a little dot right in the middle of all our flowers. I'm not sure if you can see that. Make sure you're not adding too much water to your gold paint. Otherwise, it won't be quite as shiny as you want it to be. Just add some random gold dots around to kind of also fill in the space. You can put them in sets of 3s or one by themselves. Either way it works, just kind of making sure there's an even amount all around. Yep. Adding when using white acrylic paint, it's good to just take a little bit out of a tube or a container, and then you want to kind of use some water so it's easy to use, easily spreadable, dissolve it, but not too much water because then it won't be quite as strong and become less opaque. We're going to add 2 little dots on our flowers like this. If you can see it over there. 2 little dots on each flower, and every leaf will just get kind of like 1 dot near the center. Why we add this white is I feel like it just adds a bit more to the painting, a little more sparkle and detail. Okay, so we have finished this Valentine's Day card, and remember to erase all the pencil marks after it is completely dry. And we have a matching little envelope, which I like to do a little design, of course, not where you're putting the address. And we're going to start on our next card, which is going to be a cloud design. We're going to take our paint with a thin brush, and we're going to start with a very saturated blue and draw the outlines of the clouds. You want to work quickly, keeping it very saturated, because then we're going to blend this color outwards to kind of get that faded effect. And we're going to do this a couple times on this page. So working really quickly. Now we're gonna clean our brush and get some more water and start blending the edges out. If you haven't worked quickly enough, you can always go back with more pigment and start again, but just quickly try to blend out while what's still wet right now until you can blend it all the way out to white. This part requires a lot of water, while the first part, when you're just laying the pigment down, does not need a lot of water. So kind of make sure you're using enough water to blend that out so it doesn't remain like a hard line. Kind of getting that seamless look with more water. I'm going back over in this area because the paint was too dry when we started, and just kind of adding more pigment and then blending it out again. Since this area is all wet, we're gonna move over here and do our clouds that are gonna be up here. Once again, laying down the pigment very heavily with not a lot of water, getting the outlines of those clouds that we did before in pencil. I'm finished with the cloud things. I have also done the design on our envelope here. Now remember that our envelope is not made of watercolor paper, so you want to be extra careful when adding this extra water to kind of fade it out, as it might tear the paper. So adding some gray, which your regular stone gray might be too dark, so remember to mix it with a little white. And I'm kind of doing these little like stitch patterns around the clouds, like little cross stitch, short, straight, following the roundedness of it, like it's some kind of stitched cloud. You'll see it better on the card. Try to follow the shape, and with this little gray we're doing kind of like a little pattern of stitches, and this will go all the way around our clouds. It will just kind of give a really cute quilted look to our little piece. Our clouds are dry, and we're going to be adding some rainbow hearts in order to communicate the ideas of rainbows and clouds. Our rainbows are going to be our rainbow hearts are going to be right over here, and right in this section of this cloud, this section of this cloud, and this section of this cloud. In order that the colors are not that harsh, I'm going to be using some more pastel-y colors. I'm using white to settle them down, and I'll also add just some tiny dots of our rainbow colors all around. Now that our hearts are all dry, we're going to add 2 little white dots on the right side on each of them to just kind of get that reflection on them, make it a little more interesting. We're going to do this to all of them, and also we're going to be adding little white specks in the blue area just to add some interestingness. Okay, so we finished with this card, and we're going to move on to our next card. Okay, now we're starting with our classic heart Victorian style piece. We're going to be doing a gradient rainbow right in this inner heart here over the I love you. So we're going to want to do that first. First, we're going to set down our red. This is all pastel colors, like as I mentioned before. Just mixing it with some white really helps when mixing it all together and creating a nice gradient without being too harsh. So now we're adding our orange and just keeping it kind of mixing it together so it's not a harsh line, but also not too mixed in that you can't tell that's a rainbow. Next, we're adding our yellow. Filling out the inner heart space, mixing it up a bit. And then our next color, this is more of a teal than a really straight green, so this is more of a teal color. Adding that in. And next we're going to add in our blue. And then our purple. And we're gonna have to wait for it to dry before we can do anything else. So we're just gonna leave it like this for now. Our next step is going to be adding a pink border all the way around our heart. Going to be adding some pink lace around our border. It's just going to be these little bumpy things going all the way around. Now that we've finished the lace all around the heart and 2 little pink hearts right above and below, we're going to start with the lettering. I'm using white acrylic paint and going really slowly, making sure I refill paint on my brush if I run out, because we want it to be nice and really strong. Now we're just gonna add some gold watercolor and add 2 dots here, one above and one below. And then we're finished with this design along with the envelope. If you would like to see more artworks from me, you can follow me at MGS Illustrates on Instagram. Bye!